The search is ongoing, but Mollie's family tells me they are hopeful the University of Iowa student is out there somewhere. She disappeared Wednesday night while she was dog sitting. She was last seen wearing jogging clothes, gym shorts, a sports bra, and tennis shoes. Family, friends, and members of the Brooklyn community all came out in full force to look for Mollie.
We just really hope that we can get her found and brought back home to the people that love her.
She's someone many volunteers and family alike describe as friendly and energetic.
She is about to start her sophomore year at the University of Iowa. She is probably about 5'2", brown hair, brown eyes, beautiful smile, great with kids.
Catherine Metz and her friends say they've known Mollie since high school.
It's really scary. Like now I wouldn't want to go out by myself, really. I'm just really hoping we find her.
Her disappearance leaving many on edge. Friends say it's very unlike her to disappear like this.
I'm feeling kind of scared and nervous, and I'm anxious, hoping we can find her today.
You know, you wouldn't think that something like this would happen in the small town of Brooklyn.
Authorities say they've been looking all over town.
So far we've been searching by air and foot both.
But focused the majority of Friday's efforts on the fields between her house and where she was staying when she disappeared. Family says Mollie spent Wednesday night dog sitting. These fields, a typical trail for the avid jogger. Early in the day, crews tried searching with helicopters, but weather wasn't in their favor.
As far as the air patrols go, because of the low cloud ceiling, they're not able to get certain aircraft up with the technology that we need.
But as soon as the sun did come out late in the afternoon, they sent volunteers home to regroup and try aerials.
Urge anybody that has any information related to this investigation to call the Poweshiek County Sheriff's Office.
For now, everyone is left with unanswered questions and desperate to bring Mollie home.
She did like whatever she could to help anybody, so we're trying to help her and her family today just to try and find her.
I never met a single person that didn't like Mollie.
We want our Mollie back.
The sheriff's office tells me that they have no public search crews scheduled, and they will let the public know when they will do so on social media. In studio, Chantelle Navarro, KCRG-TV9 News.
It has been 4 days since Mollie Tibbetts disappeared. Despite search efforts over the last few days, there is still no sign of that missing woman. Posters like this one are being distributed across the state to help bring awareness to the case with the hope of finding a tip that brings Mollie home. Mollie was last seen jogging Wednesday evening in an area around a small Poweshiek community of Brooklyn. The 20-year-old University of Iowa student was dog sitting with her boyfriend at the time of the disappearance. Family, friends, and the community have joined the search over the last few days. TV9's Jordee Kalk traveled to Brooklyn today, and she's live in the Cedar Rapids newsroom. Jordee, those efforts won't stop anytime soon.
Forrest, today people printed off more posters and tried to think of other ways to raise awareness that Mollie is still missing.
3 posters at a time. This printer ran all Sunday afternoon with information about Mollie, like how she's 5'2" with long brown hair. Also, others will know what to search for.
We're trying to get the word out. We want Mollie home safe.
Carla Kriegel volunteers in the next room over. She's making cards with similar information about Mollie.
My daughter was going to put them in the pay envelopes. She works at a business, a local business, also a restaurant, and we thought we'd get these around to a lot of the different restaurants.
Raising awareness as authorities continue their search. On Sunday, sheriff's deputies and DCI agents met at the Brooklyn fire station to talk about the investigation. At this point, they don't have any new information to report, but say it's an active case.
The last community search happened on Friday, where the public went all through town and on the outskirts of town to look for Mollie. Now, the sheriff's office says they will post on social media if they need the public's help for another search.
Until then, this community is doing what it can to help. Many businesses in the downtown area have signs up to support the family. Volunteers say it's just what they do in this community.
They're family, you know, we look after each other. You know, you have a lot of ups and downs that go on, you know, in small towns, and everybody knows each other's business, but when it comes down to it, we're here for each other.
Today, volunteers worked out of Live Now photos. Now, the owner there is also trying to add some yard signs and t-shirts and maybe even billboards to, again, raise awareness that Mollie is missing. Reporting live in the newsroom, Jordee Kalk, KCRG TV9 News.
Family and friends are hoping someone knows what happened to Mollie Tibbetts. The 20-year-old University of Iowa student from Poweshiek County vanished last week, seemingly without a trace. Complicating the search is misinformation about what happened. KCRG-TV9 Chantelle Navarro spoke with Tibbetts' boyfriend, one of the last people to communicate with her. And Chantelle joins us live from Brooklyn with the latest. Chantelle?
Beth and Bruce, while it may have been well-intended, a number of details about Mollie's case and her disappearance have been wrong. Down to this poster that's been spread all over town. If you take a look, even her last name is spelled wrong.
She's 5'3", 130 pounds, and her middle name is spelled with 2 E's.
Dalton Jack says he's been dating Mollie Tibbetts for close to 3 years now and was one of the first people to notice her gone.
I'm the one that threw red flags that she was missing.
Dalton says she was dog sitting here at his house Wednesday while he was in Dubuque for work and his brothers were in Ames. So when she didn't show up to her job Thursday morning, they knew something was up.
She hadn't called in, and I looked at my phone. I noticed that I had texted her good morning that morning and she hadn't opened it. So I got a hold of all her friends and family.
Other misinformation.
I read somewhere that she was running in a cornfield. That's obviously not true.
Calderwood adds that while Mollie was born in Oakland, California, her family moved here to Brooklyn when she was in 4th grade. At this point, they want to remain hopeful.
You've seen her picture. She's obviously a physically beautiful girl, but she's more beautiful on the inside.
Are you scared at all right now?
I'm just not going to go there right now.
While public searches aren't being done, Brooklyn and the U.S. as a whole isn't giving up on Mollie.
Let's bring our girl home.
And I did reach out to the sheriff's office again, but they declined to go on camera as they're all busy with the investigation. And anyone with information is asked to contact the Poweshiek Sheriff's Office. In Brooklyn, Chantelle Navarro, KCRG, TV9 News.
TV9's Josh Scheinblum continues our team coverage now. He spoke with a former FBI agent about this case today. Josh?
Bruce, I spoke to an analyst. His name is Brad Garrett, and he tells me at one point that what the FBI is doing right now is trying to prioritize leads, and that involves trying to figure out which of those leads have the greatest potential of solving the case. But the challenge faced by federal investigators is digging to find out what information is relevant to the search and which is not. What do you think it is that the FBI is bringing to the table in this sort of search effort?
Well, the FBI bring a number of things to the table. They bring obviously manpower, technology, and expertise. I mean, one of the big disadvantages of rural communities in the United States is they just don't have the experience, the manpower, or the money. And it's fairly common, particularly in remote or rural parts of the United States, to get the FBI involved early because of all of their expertise and equipment.
This is a situation right now where we don't have a lot of information. What do you believe the FBI is doing to try to bring more information to light in this search?
You look at the following. Did somebody disappear at their own hands? In other words, they just left. Or did they harm themselves and haven't been found? Did someone they know harm them, abduct them, etc., or did a stranger do it, which statistically is not high, but it could be the case. So what you're going to do is take all of the information that you can pull together from cell phones, social media, boyfriends, friends and associates, family members, to see if there are any pieces of information of someone that's touched her life, either recently or from the past, that hadn't been in her life before.
Garrett says the FBI will also be working to coordinate information between local agencies to make sure everyone is on the same page during the course of the investigation. He also adds he believes it's also crucial that authorities give regular updates on new developments to keep this story in the public eye. He thinks that may end up being crucial to bringing in new leads to help solve this case. For now, we're live in studio. Josh Scheinblum, KCRG, TV9 News.
University of Iowa student Mollie Tibbetts disappeared a week ago tonight, and now authorities have reached a couple of conclusions.
First, the Poweshiek County Sheriff says Tibbetts' boyfriend, Dalton Jack, is not a suspect in the case. And second, investigators now have some electronic records they're searching through. Tibbetts was dog-sitting at her boyfriend's house in Brooklyn when she disappeared last Wednesday night. Since then, authorities have received hundreds of tips. Investigators are studying some cell phone, social media posts, and even Fitbit data. But today, Poweshiek County Sheriff Tom Kriegel would not say what they found so far. But he did hint that such information could help them track Tibbetts' movements.
Well, I'm not a computer guy, but I understand that Fitbit must sync with the cell phones that they wear, and in that case, it somehow does track the runners.
Kriegel says the FBI and Iowa DCI requested the electronic information. The sheriff also referred to a Snapchat post from Tibbetts to her boyfriend, Dalton Jack. Jack said earlier he did not look at the photo until 10 o'clock last Wednesday night, the night she disappeared. Jack also said he was in Dubuque when Tibbetts vanished.
We've confirmed that he's not a suspect.
Do you think that she could have been picked up by someone that she knew?
Well, anything's possible. We don't know.
The sheriff also says investigators have looked at every surveillance camera in Brooklyn, both home and businesses. He did not say if those cameras have provided any useful information.
Here's the timeline of what we know about Mollie's whereabouts and the search for her. Last Wednesday, she was dog sitting at the home in Brooklyn where her boyfriend and her boyfriend's brother live. Thursday, her boyfriend alerted authorities that Mollie had disappeared. He is not a suspect. Now, Friday, people joined Poweshiek County Sheriff's Department to search the fields between her house and where she was dog sitting. They searched the ground on foot and from the sky by helicopter. Saturday, investigators called off the public search. Sunday, sheriff's deputies and the State Criminal Investigative Unit, DCI, met at the Brooklyn fire station for hours to discuss the investigation. By Monday, news of Mollie's disappearance had spread far beyond Iowa, and Mollie's aunt and boyfriend told TV9 there was misinformation in the case, including misspellings on posters and that she was running in a cornfield when she disappeared. Tuesday, authorities said they are not ruling out that this was an abduction. FBI agents also joined in the investigation. And as you heard Wednesday, authorities told TV9 they've received information from her Fitbit after issuing a search warrant. Investigators have not shared what they found, if anything substantive. Now, this all has been a shock to the tiny town of Brooklyn. Just 1,400 people live there. The case is now in the national spotlight as the search for Mollie enters its second week.
So I was staying in Dubuque since Tuesday for work. One of her coworkers called me and said that she hadn't come to work that day and she hadn't called in. And I looked at my phone, I noticed that I had texted her good morning that morning and she hadn't opened it. The officers don't know if she went missing when she was jogging or the next morning.
We just really hope that we can get her found and brought back home to the people that love her.
So far, we've been searching by air and foot both.
Are you scared at all right now? I'm just not going to go there right now.
We're a close-knit community, and I can't even imagine this happening to one of my kids. You know, we love Mollie. It's their family.
The FBI bring a number of things to the table. They bring obviously manpower, technology, and expertise. It doesn't appear to be completely obvious as to what has happened to Mollie. You know, you look at the following. Did somebody disappear at their own hand? Or did they harm themselves? Did someone they know harm them, abduct them, etc.? Or did a stranger do it?
We're just letting the investigators do what they need to do and trying to stay strong.
We want to show you Mollie's picture again. She is 20 years old, 5'2", with brown hair, brown eyes. If you have any information in the case, please call 641-623-5679.
9 days. That's how long it's been since anyone's seen or heard from Mollie Tibbetts.
And investigators say they're not changing their intensity in the search for her. 20-year-old Mollie Tibbetts, a University of Iowa student, disappeared on July 18th. That day, she'd gone out for a run and was dog-sitting for her boyfriend in Brooklyn, Iowa. The investigation into Tibbetts' disappearance has included searching areas of Brooklyn, including farm fields and farm buildings beyond Brooklyn. Authorities say Tibbetts' boyfriend and brothers are not suspects. The Division of Criminal Investigation and the FBI say they have been trying to track her digital footprint, looking at information from her cell phone and her Fitbit. KCRG-TV9 Chantelle Navarro joins us live from Brooklyn tonight. And Chantelle, will the weekend impact law enforcement's search?
Beth, investigators tell me that they're treating today as if it's still day one and that they're not scaling back efforts whatsoever this weekend. On the contrary, more law enforcement arrived just today. The Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation says they did more neighborhood sweeps, searched more rural parts of Poweshiek County, and have interviewed more than 100 people just today. The DCI tells me as long as people keep sending tips, they're going to keep working. Authorities say they continue to get hundreds of new and different leads every day.
As the leads come in, we're going to run them out. So and I anticipate we will get more leads, and so we anticipate working through the weekend, and we'll do whatever we can to track her down and locate her.
The DCI does insist they believe it's not a recovery mission and that they do believe while the disappearance is suspicious, she's out here somewhere still alive. And authorities also point out that they have no person of interest at this time that they could share publicly, but they do want to encourage people to keep sending tips to the Poweshiek County Sheriff's Office tip line. In Brooklyn, Chantelle Navarro, KCRG-TV9 News.
Authorities continue to search for 20-year-old Mollie Tibbetts. She disappeared from Brooklyn in Poweshiek County nearly 2 weeks ago, and the search has gained national attention while friends and family wait for answers. KCRG-TV9 Chantelle Navarro joins us with the latest. Chantelle?
Beth, Mollie's brother told our coverage partners at KCCI in Des Moines that investigators found evidence she was using her laptop to do homework Wednesday night. That links yet another point to the timeline that she did return home from her jog before disappearing. Her boyfriend said she Snapchatted him a picture of herself indoors that night as well. Now Mollie's dad is asking anyone with even the slightest clue of something they might think could help to contact authorities.
It doesn't matter what we're going through. We just need people to think there's somebody knows something and they don't even know it's important. Can get Mollie back. We just have to have somebody call.
Investigators say they're confident in Mollie's digital footprint using her Fitbit data and social media too. I spoke with a security engineer about what type of things they might be able to find from using that information, and he told me why the cell phone is crucial to be able to access this. I'll have that tonight at 6. Live in studio, Chantelle Navarro, KCRG-TV9 News.
It is our greatest hope that if someone has her, that they would just release her and claim that money that we have raised for her freedom.
$172,000. That's how much money the family of 20-year-old Mollie Tibbetts is offering to help find her.
They said it could be a reward for a tip or a ransom payment for an abductor. During that news conference, investigators were actually out searching a rural area in Poweshiek County. The homeowner confirmed to TV9 that search is connected to Tibbetts' case. A TV9 crew came across the search happening near the Lincoln Wildlife Area that's just off Highway 21 between Deep River and Guernsey. KCRG-TV9 Chantelle Navarro joins us live from Brooklyn. And Chantelle, this isn't the first time investigators have looked in that area.
No, the homeowner tells me that authorities have already searched his place several times last week when they first interviewed him about Mollie. But investigators wouldn't say what exactly they were looking for or if they found any evidence that Mollie's been there. And the search comes the same day as Mollie's family announced a reward or ransom fund. The Bring Mollie Tibbetts Home Fund is set up at the First State Bank in Brooklyn. They say that money can pay a reward for a tip or pay Mollie's potential abductors. A sign the family firmly believes Mollie's still alive.
Mollie isn't all that more different than your daughters or your sisters or your girlfriend. She's just a wonderful, normal, terrific person, and we all can identify with that. So let's bring her home.
The fundraiser is now at more than $172,000 and is still accepting donations. And authorities will be holding a press conference tomorrow morning at 9:30 where they'll be saying if they have any updates on the investigation so far. And you can watch that on our KCRG Facebook page. In Brooklyn, Chantelle, Navarro, KCRG-TV9 News.
Investigators, the Brooklyn community, and really the entire country are still waiting for word on Mollie Tibbetts.
The University of Iowa student disappeared almost 3 weeks ago, and authorities continue searching for answers in that case. Anyone with information that could help investigators can call this tip line number, 1-800-452-1111. Today, TV9's Chantelle Navarro spoke with Mollie Tibbetts' father and her boyfriend and joins us now. And Chantelle, her dad says he believes somebody is holding her against her will.
Yes, but he wants to make it clear that it's not due to anything law enforcement has hinted at. He does point out there was no sign of foul play or disturbance at the home she was staying at. So naturally, his mind is coming to any conclusion possible.
A lot of what I think is what, you know, a distraught father with too much time and too much imagination. But I don't think anyone set out to harm Mollie.
Rob Tibbetts says he still remains optimistic that his daughter's disappearance will end on a happy note.
I think there is genuinely a logical way home for Mollie. I really do.
And whoever does have her is confused at this point as the investigation has escalated to a national level.
Doesn't mean to harm Mollie, but doesn't know how to end this situation, doesn't know how to extricate themselves from this, is fearful of the consequences.
Mollie's boyfriend Dalton Jack says he's trying to stay busy and leave the work to the authorities.
Thinking about her, it's not about me. You know, my feelings don't matter. It's all about her.
And even if there's another scenario, like someone's out there that knows what happened, Rob says it's only a matter of time.
It's a little town. We're all from Iowa. We all know what a small town is like. Someone knows exactly what happened, and they just haven't come forward.
Dalton says he misses his best friend.
Just miss talking to her pretty much. She's, you know, the one person in the world that I told everything to.
And both hope they can all look back on this and laugh after she's finally brought home safe and sound.
She's going to have to drive the car around with all of those magnetic stickers all over it and wear the t-shirts and pull all of the store signs out of every store in Iowa as her punishment.
Well, I love you and I miss you, and everybody wants you to come home, including me, especially me.
So far, the Bring Mollie Tibbetts Home Fund has generated over $300,000 and brought in more than 600 tips to authorities. Live in studio, Chantelle Navarro, KCRG, TV9 News.
University of Iowa student Mollie Tibbetts has been missing now for more than 3 weeks.
The Poweshiek County woman's family is trying to spread the word every way they can. KCRG-TV9 Chantelle Navarro spoke with Mollie's family at the state fair. And Chantelle, they're hoping to bring more attention to this case.
That's right. Mollie's smiling face is now seen on pamphlets, billboards, and stickers across the country. But her family came here to the state fair, hoping that one of the thousands of people visiting have seen her.
Help us find Mollie. There you go.
Rob Tibbetts says he remains hopeful that someone will help him track down his daughter.
There'll be hundreds of thousands of Iowans here in the next 10 days, if not millions.
Mollie's boyfriend Dalton Jack joined the trip to the fair, a trip usually meant for happier times, filled with determination more than anything.
Raise awareness, people that may not have seen it. It's a huge foot traffic area, so it's easy to hit a lot of people at one time.
Just trying to drive information back to the authorities.
But the rides and food do remind him of a day he and Mollie walked these same grounds.
Not really into it either, just because she's not like a big games or rides kind of person. She enjoys it.
Though she did enjoy one Iowa staple.
I remember looking at the butter cow, so.
And it's memories like these the family will cling to until they reunite once again.
Cool that she's going to come back and be safe and all that, and still really, really nice to know that everybody out here, nothing's really slowed down. The investigation's still going.
Mollie's out there, and we need somebody to come forward.
And you're literally like right next,
And authorities have scheduled the next press conference for the Mollie Tibbetts case for Monday afternoon at 3. In Des Moines, Chantelle Navarro, KCRG, TV9 News.
Authorities have arrested a man for the murder of missing University of Iowa student Mollie Tibbetts.
They found what they believe is her body in a cornfield in rural Poweshiek County early this morning. 24-year-old Christian Rivera faces a first-degree murder charge. Iowa DCI says he followed Tibbetts while she was running on July 18th. Tibbetts was 20 years old and would have been starting her sophomore year at the University of Iowa this fall. KCRG-TV9's Forrest Saunders is in Montezuma, where a news conference wrapped up earlier today with this information. Forrest, what else did DCI say about Rivera?
Beth, this case is already becoming very politically polarized because of the immigration status of Rivera. He's said to have been here illegally for somewhere between 4 to 7 years. Now, authorities did have a chance to speak with Rivera yesterday, and they believe that the night that Tibbetts disappeared while jogging, Rivera had been following her in his car, and this was apparently all caught on security footage by a person who lives in that area. Rivera told authorities he actually made contact with the person believed to be Tibbetts, getting out of the car and running next to her at one point. Tibbetts was said to have threatened to call 911, and Rivera told authorities he freaked out and, quote, blanked his memory. Finding Tibbetts in the trunk of his car later with blood on her head. Rivera then said that he hid the body in a cornfield. He led authorities there earlier today.
We are saddened for the family. It is difficult on the investigators. However, that's what we're paid to do, and we try to do it as best as we possibly can. We're just happy that we're able to locate him, get him charged, and then hopefully come out with a successful conclusion, that being a conviction.
We still don't know the cause of death for Tibbetts. It's something we asked authorities, but we are expected to know more once authorities are able to conduct an autopsy, which is scheduled for tomorrow in Aune. They're also expected to positively identify the human remains found today as Tibbetts. As far as Rivera, he is being held at the Poweshiek County Jail, and he is expected to be arraigned tomorrow. Again, he faces that first-degree murder charge, which in the state of Iowa is a life without parole. Live in Montezuma, Forrest Saunders, KCRG-TV9 News.
Again, investigators say Christian Rivera is not in the country legally, and they believe he came to the U.S. from Mexico. They said he's been living in the area for 4 to 7 years, and they used translators to interview him.
The court filings for today's arrest detail events going from the night Mollie disappeared up through the discovery and arrest today. TV9's Josh Scheinblum continues our team coverage with more of what authorities say happened.
24-year-old Christian Rivera has no address listed in court documents. Investigators said he lives in rural Poweshiek County. TV9 has learned he's in the country illegally. His warrant shows Rivera's bond has been set at $1 million cash. According to Rivera's criminal affidavit, authorities were able to locate surveillance footage of Rivera driving back and forth in the area where Mollie Tibbetts was running on the east side of Brooklyn. Authorities say Rivera has admitted making contact with a woman running in that same location, that he parked his Chevy Malibu and ran after her. It's then Rivera claims Mollie grabbed her phone and said, "I'm going to call the police." Rivera says he panicked and that he blocked his memory, which he admitted happens when he gets very upset. The next thing he remembers is being back in his car and driving to a cornfield. He then recalled he had put a woman in his trunk. He then got Mollie out of the trunk and noted that she had blood on the side of her head. He put Mollie over his shoulder and walked about 20 yards into a cornfield, placed her face up, then covered her body with corn leaves. Rivera used his phone to retrace the route he traveled from Brooklyn. In studio, Josh Scheinblum, KCRG-TV9 News.
A woman who competed against Mollie Tibbetts in cross country when she attended BGM High School says she wants people to remember Mollie for how she lived, not how she died. TV9's Jordee Kalk joins us now from Brooklyn with that story. Jordee?
Beth, I spoke to a few of Mollie Tibbetts' friends today, friends that helped put out posters with Mollie's information all throughout town here. And now they say because of today's news, they are going to change some of their daily routines.
Alexis Morrison first met Mollie Tibbetts in the 8th grade.
We ran our whole high school and middle school career together.
They were competitors. Mollie ran for BGM High School and Alexis for Montezuma schools. Alexis says she always looked forward to races against Mollie.
We were always like right by each other during every race.
It didn't matter who won. What mattered was personal bests, and the two encouraged each other.
Pray together and stuff before every race to help each other.
Morrison and her family are still in disbelief what happened to Mollie Tibbetts.
Her folks did everything they could to make sure she was prepared and educated and okay, and it's just a senseless act that was done to her. He might have taken her away from us for, future celebrations, but he'll never take that smile away.
The family says they'll focus on their memories with Mollie.
She's just a beautiful girl.
But the lifelong runner says this situation has changed her routines. Morrison says she'll take some precautions before heading out on the trails throughout Poweshiek County.
My husband actually just got me a taser because I'm training for half marathon, and it's really scary just to go out there.
Now, today authorities said that Mollie never had any issues before when she went on her runs, which is quite often around here in Brooklyn. Authorities do recommend, though, that it is always safer to run in pairs if possible. Reporting live in Brooklyn, Jordee, Kalk, KCRG-TV9 News.